Happy Father's Day. I realize the date we're told to celebrate the role fathers play in our children's lives is usually the third Sunday in June. But I view every day as Father's Day, so happy Father's Day. First and foremost, I'd like to say I'm a proud father of three amazing young men. AJ, who's 33, Chase, 18, and Olivier, who's 15 years old. I would like to share briefly my experiences as a son, a father, and a professional in this field, and how these experiences have had a profound impact on my work at DSS. At DSS, I'm responsible for the administration of Connecticut's Fatherhood Initiative, which is a broad-based, multi-agency, statewide effort led by the Department of Social Services. The focus of the Fatherhood Initiative is on changing systems that can improve the ability of fathers to be fully and positively involved in the lives of their children. The programming arm of the initiative serves more than 700 individuals annually. The fathers involved in our program have an average age of 33 and have an average of 2 children. Some of the barriers to their engagement are low education levels, criminal history, unemployment, lack of housing, child support debt, lack of transportation, and mental health and substance abuse issues, as well as food insecurities. For more information about the Connecticut Fatherhood Initiative, please visit our website at www.ct.gov/fatherhood. I'm the oldest of 4 children. My mom gave birth to me when she was 16 years old. My biological father wasn't engaged in my life in a consistent way. And I make the distinction that he's my biological father and not my dad, because there are many men in fathering roles who don't have biological ties to children they're raising, like my stepdad, who I call dad to this day. However, I want to share with you my experiences with my biological father because I believe the interactions we had and didn't have influenced my understanding of fatherhood over the years. I first met my biological father at a chain store when I was in the 2nd or 3rd grade. I remember the day very clearly. My mom was taking us shopping for school clothes at a back-to-school sale at Zayre's in Bloomfield. While we were at checkout line, this man walks into the store and notices my mom, and he comes over to speak to her. They chat for a bit, he gives my mom some money, and the man turns to me and says, "Hey son," pats me in the head, and gives me a quarter to ride the horse in the front of the store. Now I had no idea who this guy was, but he was all right in my book because he had just given me a quarter to ride the horse. Even now, I know very little about him. My mother told me he's originally from Meridian, Mississippi. He didn't finish high school. He worked construction, and he loved motorcycles. I assume he wasn't a bad guy. He just didn't know how to father. And back then, there were no programs to educate him or support him in his role as an involved father. One of the main things I remember about him is that he never told me he loved me. I'm 50 years old, and I distinctly remember that. I also don't remember him ever hugging or kissing me. And another thing that stands out to me is my mom never said a bad word about him. He actually lived right around the corner from us, within walking distance from my house. But he never came to see how I was doing or what I needed. I needed my father. Despite not seeing him, some part of me loved this man and felt a need to know him because he was my father. And because of this, when I was older, in about the 5th or 6th grade, I sought this man out for a relationship. I would go over to his house and hang around, but most of the time he wasn't there because he was working. I ended up spending a lot of time with his girlfriend, and she always encouraged my father to foster our relationship. So even after seeking him out, I was still only getting to know him through someone else. Eventually, I stopped going over to his house after not getting the result I was looking for: his time, his attention, and his love. And looking back on my relationship with my biological father, I felt I pursued or wanted the bond more than he did. Children don't choose their parents, but I feel he made a choice not to be involved in my life. As I've grown and became involved with father engagement work, I wondered, how did my father's dad interact with him? Did they have a good relationship? Did my grandfather play a role beyond provider or disciplinarian? Or was my father just simply modeling what he saw his father do? I last spoke with my father in 1989 when he told me he'd sold his home and was moving back to Mississippi. I believe he is now 88 years old, and he's never met my wife or my children. As I mentioned my sons earlier, 3 of them, and 3 totally different experiences for me that have helped shape my understanding of fatherhood greatly and influenced my work here at DSS. I was very young when my oldest son, AJ, was born. I was 17 years old and a senior in high school. I initially was very involved. I knew that I wanted to be there for him and not be like my father. AJ's mother and I were still together when we went on to college. She went to Howard University, and the baby was living with her mother in Hartford. I went to Sacred Heart University here in Fairfield, so oftentimes I would go and pick up AJ and bring him back to school to stay with me for the weekend. After college, though, came the disconnect. My son moved to Georgia with his mother. She married, and I became less involved with AJ, since geographically I couldn't see him every day. I thought I was fulfilling my role as a father by making sure that I paid my child support and by sending clothes and gifts for birthdays and holidays and back to school time each year. But I know now that wasn't enough. I was missing out on the things or major moments in my son's childhood that mattered to him. I didn't realize that until I called him to see how he was doing, and his mom answered the phone, and she told me to hold because AJ was outside. Well, AJ comes in, he answers the phone, and I ask him, I say, "Hey, buddy, what are you doing outside?" And he replied, "I'm playing catch with my dad." Wow. It's like a punch in the stomach. I was floored. What do you say to your child at this moment? I was hurt, but I couldn't be angry with him because he was telling the truth. He equated fatherhood as all those things that his stepdad did with him, like going to the park to play ball, helping him with his homework, taking him to football and basketball practice, spending quality time with him. I was sure, though, his mom had poisoned him against me, and I blamed her. But deep down, I knew it wasn't her fault, and I knew it wasn't his stepdad's fault either. He's a good man, and he was good to AJ. I knew it was due to my lack of involvement, not seeing him and not spending time with him. I know this because I couldn't tell anyone what he said to me. I was too embarrassed. Once I hung up the phone, I made a conscious effort to do a better job at being a father to him. I realized that just by providing child support, I was only fulfilling part of what a dad is all about. I started taking trips to Georgia to see him. We wrote letters, we talked on the phone more, and he would come to visit me during summers and holidays. One summer, AJ came to stay. He was about 13 years old then. It was the first time he was going to be staying with me. So while he was here, we took a trip to Action Park with some of my friends and their families, and we had a great time. We were at the go-kart track, but the kids weren't old enough to drive the go-karts, just us adults. So there they were, watching us race around the track, screaming and cheering. And I hear AJ say, "Go, Dad!" And you know the story of the Grinch when he got the Christmas spirit? When his heart grew 3 sizes? That was me. What a tremendous feeling. He's been calling me Dad ever since, and I've been acting like one ever since. Now, my middle son, Chase, was born in 1999, and he's really benefited from all the struggles I've shared with you today. I know I've grown into the father that I am today by learning a lot along the way, and I'm still learning. Chase has referred to me as Dad since his first dada, the way it should be. I know my role includes taking care of him financially. That's a given, because it takes money to raise kids. But money isn't everything. The real stuff that helps children thrive are when parents are dependable and involved in their everyday routine, like I've been with Chase, even though he hasn't always lived with me. I was involved with his mealtime, baths, bedtime, school, his doctors, extracurricular activities, and his friends. And I know he knows that I love him because I tell him and I show him every single day. My youngest son, Olivier, came into my life in 2014 as a precocious 12-year-old. He is my wife's son from her first marriage, and I'm a proud stepdad, engaged in every way with Olivier, just the same as with my other sons. But don't get me wrong, being a step-parent comes with its own challenges, like balancing the parental role, but also understanding that he has a dad who is engaged. I'm okay with being an extra person helping to parent him. One more adult male in his life that shows him love and spends quality time with him is a good thing. My stepdad's influence has had a huge impact on how I approach this important role. I'm striving to create a new legacy for my family based on lessons learned over the years, whether positive or negative. It's my choice to incorporate them into becoming the best father that I can be. So here's what I've learned about fatherhood over the years. Being a father doesn't end when the relationship is over with mom. We still have to put the effort in. Dad isn't a title that should be taken lightly. It's earned, not given. It's okay to show your kids love with hugs, kisses, and tell them that you love them. Always keep your promise. And if for some reason you can't, talk to your child and tell them why you couldn't keep that promise. Always communicate respectfully with your child's other parent, regardless of your feelings about that relationship. You'll be more effective and you will model healthy communication for your child. And remember, it is never too late to be a father to your children. If you've made mistakes in the past, you will have an opportunity to recover. We at DSS work with families every day, even if not directly. We make decisions that impact families. When I say families, I mean people living in the same house as the children and those who aren't. The Fatherhood Initiative works with many men who are not living with their children. They are still their fathers. They still matter to their children. And we need to make sure that we're working to include them for supports that will help them and their children. The best way to support children is to support both of their parents. Remember, when it comes to how well we've done as parents, our children have the last word.